everyone. Welcome to Work Love Wednesday. Daisy and Smelter here for Work Love Wednesday. It is time for Work Love Wednesday. Good morning, Facebook. It is Wednesday, which means it is time for some Work Love. And Instagram is on live too, joining us. So exciting. Hello. Wave at people on Instagram. So, are you ready? I guess let's start with a little minor kind of recap that we have going on. I'm not going to lie. I think I'm kind of like fighting off something very small. My energy is like a little lower the last couple of days. I've noticed that I've really valued sleep, but I think most of us really value sleep, so I'm not going to discount that at all. It looks like Instagram is hopping today. So I guess while I'm just waiting for a few minutes because I want to talk about the power of relationships, because this came up yesterday in a really beautiful kind of scenario. At least it was for me, but and it was a great lesson. I don't know if you can hear that, but Molly, my dog Molly, is like over here acting like a bear cub, and she's making all kinds of funny noises. She stopped now because I started talking about her. So I want to talk about that today, but a couple of things going on. Number one, tomorrow evening, I'm doing a free yin yoga class at my office. So those of you that are local to the York, Pennsylvania area, those that are not, I'm sorry, this one's not for you. But I am doing a free half-an-hour yin yoga class because we're filming a promo video and they want to get some footage of basically of all the services that we offer at Leadership Arts Associates, and yin yoga, qigong, like those things that I think are really centering and grounding for individuals is definitely a major service line for us now. Woohoo! Yay! So if you're interested, I'm trying to have a solid like 5 or 6 people in class for the filming, and most of the filming is going to be centered on me, not really on everyone else doing their yoga poses. And I'm also designing the flow, so it is very footage friendly, so people who are self-conscious about that. But if you're interested, direct message me on Instagram, text me if you got my number, call the office, 717-430-2850, email me, however you want to get a hold of me. But tomorrow it's going to be at 5:30. It's only for half an hour, and it's a really nice way to get a taste. And for those of you that have not gone to a yoga class with me, I really, my niche is kind of being that bridge. So for those who have never done yoga, those who think that maybe they could never do yoga, you are my jam. That's how that's where I want to go and do those things. But it's going to be, it's a beautiful practice where you get to show up and provide permission to yourself to take care of you. And I think, if anything from really January on, giving yourself permission to give your body what it needs has been one of the greatest lessons that I have taken away on my personal wellness journey as I keep continuing. But realizing that living a yang-filled life, with all the stresses that you have from all the different hats that you play, for me, it's mom, it's wife, it's business owner, it's HR consultant, it's volunteer, leader in the in the community, doing those kinds of things. It's a lot of different hats. And then to add to that by doing a heavy focus on aerobics and going to the gym and just annihilating my body was actually working against me. And so if you're interested in, if your yang and your yin are unbalanced, tomorrow evening is a great way to try that out. And in addition to that, towards the end, I also have another announcement that will be kind of helpful for any of you that are interested in that as well. So, stay tuned. The last thing is, I know that I've been talking about qigong, and today is not about qigong, so it's not a qigong themed episode. I've kind of come off that that high, that excess energy. I've done more purging of my heart, as we talked about last week. And now what I do want to talk about is, because I am moving into basically my clinicals, so doing general treatment protocols for people that might be interested in medical Qigong and the health benefits that are aligned with that, which really, play into, talking about our energetic bodies and energy that we're picking up from everywhere. So if you're somebody who can feel, have lots of gut reactions, you're probably really sensitive to energy. And so medical Qigong is a treatment, a really relaxing treatment. So I think like massage that allows a practitioner to go in and kind of purge and tonify your energetic fields. And so I'm doing kind of my practice rounds. So anybody who's interested in that, reach out to me. So free treatments for me to just kind of get practice and feedback. And the more people, the merrier, so I can get some experience. Anyways, that's those things. So let's talk about the topic at hand, the power of relationships. So most of you, some of you, none of you may know that I teach as adjunct faculty at York College here in York, Pennsylvania, York College of Pennsylvania. I teach 2 classes. In the fall, I teach recruitment, selection, and development. And then in the spring, I teach human resource development, which is the training and development course, which is, kind of my bread and butter. That's my jam. And I really enjoy it. I really enjoy being able to, especially as I have my different ventures going out and doing a lot of my research on modalities that are not true to the core of my HR practitioner self. It's really nice to be able to teach essentially the basics and some of the advanced kind of concepts to these students. So it really provides balance for me, as we're kind of talking about. So this semester I was really blessed. I mean, I every semester I have incredible classes, but this semester for human resource development, which is all about engagement, I had a really awesome group, a group who wasn't sure initially, but was open to all the cheesy icebreakers, open to listening and applying, and open to not letting everything be dictated by the immediate gratification of a grade, but the process. And that's a lot of what I focus on. So anyway, so I realized that, especially in human resource development, we do these icebreakers, but in any kind of course, I treat it like an adult education course. I treat it as I would in the corporate learning environment when I work with students in that capacity, which are adult learners. And I work to create a safe and engaging learning space and trust, and I hope that's possible. A lot of the struggles that I had my first semester teaching at the collegiate level was that, in college, you're dealing with that transition from primarily from going to high school to college without going out into the real world. And so being able to build that trust proved to be a challenge, a really great challenge. And so it's kind of been my internal drive, is to see how I can push myself further and help to make those connections and really get to know my learners and see how I can adapt. Also paying attention to the fact that every semester is different because it's filled with a bunch of brand new individuals, unique individuals. And so it's not like you can figure out this magical formula that you can apply every semester. Every semester is going to be a little bit different just because the group dynamics. I mean, think about your workplaces. Every place is different. I know on Instagram, we had a couple people that joined that are nurses. If you think about in a hospital healthcare system, every nursing unit has a different feel to it. It's all about the dynamics that kind of are coming together. So long story short, to say that this semester I had a really awesome group. And when you have a really awesome group like that, it's amazing when they kind of teach you something or leave you with something that's powerful. And so on the last day of class, we had finals. And if it's possible to have a beautiful closing class where a final exam is administered, I had one. it was just a really great experience. And I say that wanting to lay out that I don't give like a 2-hour exam for the final. It's just like a regular quiz. We do kind of like these knowledge checks throughout. So it's basically a smaller, and then there's some encompassing questions for it all. So there wasn't like this high pressure exam. So I don't want you to think that I created this really awesome final exam that everyone loved, because that's not what was happening there. It was a very low pressure quiz knowledge check. Anyways, so, but one of the things that we put on there, and something that I really believe in, is the power of reflection. And I use it with adults all the time. It's probably one of the #1 tools that I took away from me when I graduated from Penn State and the Training and Development Masters of Education program, courtesy of Dr. Jo Tyler, who probably long shot that she will ever see this episode, but if she does, giving a shout out. And she introduced me to this concept of reflection cycles and using reflection to really help adult learners connect to what they are learning in their environment. And I was hesitant to bring it in at the college level because I didn't know if they were ready for that. And it's actually proven to be very, very beneficial. And so the final question on the exam was reflection based, because throughout the entire semester, every week I was having them do a reflection-based question, more so for me to really check and get a pulse on what was happening throughout the semester, to know if they were taking anything away, because I am still learning as an adjunct faculty member, and doing things differently. I want to make sure that the learning was still occurring. And so this was the one way that I could do a mini internal check with 20 students every week. So yesterday I got to grade these final exams and read these reflection questions, which I told everybody was basically like a bonus. Like, as long as you show me that you had depth in your reflection, I'm not going to deduct points. I'm not going to judge what you chose to highlight in your reflection question. And there was one in particular, which I think was compounded by several because it was the final exam. So I think it was just like this beautiful buildup, talking about how their greatest takeaway from the course was the rapport that he built with the students in class. And he shared that initially, doing some of the icebreakers, he felt like he was being forced to get to know people. And then kind of organically at some point, it just naturally started to happen. And what he realized is that his comfort level with the students sitting right in his direct area versus the students who sat across the room, and mindfully so, I didn't do any icebreakers or organizational like things where I made them, yes, they swapped up and they did small group work in different places, but I didn't ever make them switch seats, which I know is a common practice that's done. I let them pick their space that they felt safe in, and they could always return there. Yes, we would do activities where maybe they had to shake it up temporarily, but they were always allowed to go back to that home space that they kind of claimed as their own at the beginning of the semester. And he said that, I know the names of the people all the way. I know the names of the 20 people in this room, and I know that if I ran into them across campus, I'm okay asking them for help just as much as I am asking my friends that are around me. And he said because that barrier was removed, the learning was so much easier when you knew that you had all these resources. And this is one of those things that for me as an adult educator, you talk about, you learn about in theory, you think is happening, because a lot of the things that we do measurements and we think, yes, it's happening. I can prove this because I saw this happen. I saw that happen, and it opened up this opportunity. But rarely, very rarely, do you have a student or a participant in those sessions come back and share that that's actually what's occurring. And I saw little trickles of it throughout. I saw a student earlier in the semester in the journal talk about how she has never been in a class where she has a sense of rapport with the other students, that no matter where they are on campus, they're always greeting each other with a smile. And so they created this mini little culture that was expanding across campus, at least for some of them. I can't speak for all of them. You know, there probably could be a student in there, hey, my class, because can't please them all. Same thing like workplaces. We can't please them all. But enough of them were on board that it created this amazing dynamic that I think is what we felt playing out in class. So even if you had individuals who were disengaged, there was enough that were on board and engaged and believe in what was happening that it pushed the class moving in this really productive kind of conversations. No, I'm reading on Facebook. Mary Ellen, you're just too sweet. But yeah, and I think Mary Ellen, I know for you guys on Instagram who don't check on Facebook, but I talked about how relationships mean everything, and to have a connection with your teacher makes the learning even deeper. I'm sure you made a wonderful impact on your student. And I think what's really interesting about that is like, that is my drive. So I think the extra outcome is that they had this connection. But really for me, I mean, since day one going to the college, it has been about how do I have a better connection with these students that I see once a week, who don't come to office hours, who don't really engage with you outside the classroom, even though that's a possible resource for them. But I wanted to be able to connect with them, because in the corporate arena, if we don't connect to our participants or those who are showing up for training, we can't have any impact on them. It's basically a once and done, and then they're gone. And so you have to build these relationships with them in that time. And in fact, those are probably the hardest thing for me, because I build these relationships and then I have to leave these people. Even if it's a 1 day or a 1 hour, I really work to build those relationships, to connect, so that there's a trust level, so that you're open to whatever's being shared during that time, whether it's being shared from your peers, whether it's being shared, you know, in whatever scenario that is, really helping to kind of bring that relationship together. And so, you know, I say this because, you know, one of the big topics that comes up all the time when people talk to me about boundaries, about toxic relationships, and I've done a lot of coaching on sometimes where we have to like let go of people or put up some serious walls, because allowing them in and being vulnerable and authentic with them can do more damage. And there's just certain scenarios where people are on their own healing journey and their own wellness journey, and it's just not anywhere close to where we are. And so letting them in allows a new level of vulnerability to constantly undo some of the healing work that you're doing. And I think that seems to be the focus so much. Like, people reach out and they want to know how to do that. They want permission to cut people off. But I think I want to reiterate on the other side that these relationships are needed in every level. Like, we think relationships, they have to be deep. They have to be these big, intimate, close things where we expose everything. And it doesn't have to be that. You know, this is a beautiful example of a classroom of students who, yes, shared some things. They know some things about each other. And I saw some of this in the reflection questions about one student knew how many pens that another student had in their book bag because of random activities that we did, but that will always stay with her. They knew each other on a level that allowed them to connect, that didn't have to be this big disclosure of everything out there. And so we can have those relationships. And when I talk about, especially in the work environment, when I talk about team dynamics and coworkers, and when I talk about building relationships, everyone thinks that I'm trying to make you be BFFs with everybody else, that you have to have this strong, family connection, essentially. But what I'm really looking for is just some sort of level ground, some level where you can connect and you can trust. Trust is what's important, is that I can trust that when I talk to you, that you're going to be there for me in a work context, you know, maybe not in a personal context, but in a work context. When I need you to support me, are you going to be there? Life is hard. Life is filled with so many things, and every day it's changing for all of us. It changed for every single one of us. You know, I have a good day, someone else not so much. I have an okay day, someone else is having a horrible day. And then some of us are stressed, some of us not so stressed. It's this changing dynamic that we bring in to everywhere that we go, every environment that we're in. You go to the coffee shop, you're putting out vibes there. You go to work, you're putting out vibes. You go home, you're putting out vibes. And we're interacting with all those vibes around us. And I say that because doing that alone is even harder. And knowing how to have those support systems where my peeps at work can show up and help and support me when maybe personal life is just a little too heavy that day. And I'm a little too emotional. Maybe I've been a little too triggered at home. Maybe I'm dealing with some hard work, like I've shared before, about feeling like I'm inadequate as a mom, and some things happened at home that I'm just in that space and I need a moment of time. And for others to be able to pick that up and know, they don't have to know that I have all these personal things I'm working through about feeling inadequate as a mom, but knowing that, I just need to hit the pause button for a moment and let me take the lead on a meeting, or let me just take a phone call because we both answer the same phone line. Just little ways to kind of check in with each other and know when our energy is just off. That's all that it is. It's knowing when the energy is off. It's not disclosing and sharing everything about each other, but being able to support each other, because knowing that when my energy's off, I would love for you to step in and help me there. And that's no different than even at the coffee shop. The coffee shop, if you have engaged learners, and I saw it happen with my 4-year-old this past weekend, the guy making her hot chocolate made her day. And was reading her energy. So even when she was shy, how he approached her, he remembered her. A couple days later, we came in for more hot chocolate, so it must be really good. Shout out to at Molly's Courtyard Cafe, downtown York. If you haven't been there, check it out. The latte, vanilla lavender latte is awesome with coconut milk. But he remembered her and made some little joke, but connecting with her in that fashion. So he's not going to be her babysitter, but building this level of trust that, she was able to start talking to him and engaging. At home, oh my gosh, at home, this is huge. If we can't build relationships with the people that we're coming home to, the place where we're supposed to rejuvenate and just be our true authentic selves and let it all hang out, let's just be real. At home, you should be surrounded by true friends, true love, true family, that's who should be in your nice little cocoon when you come home. So you can let it all out. You can let the ugly hang out, and they're going to love you no matter what. And they're going to be there to support you. Just like when they come home, they let their ugly out, and you're going to love and support them because there's no filters needed. And that's that most precious cocoon of being at home. So relationships, they're needed. They're a powerful tool. We need them in our life. And with, right now we're on Instagram and Facebook, we have tools that are put out there that are enabling distance to occur if we wanted to. It's so interesting because on Facebook and Instagram, I get insights as far as how many people watch the videos, yet it's not how many people engage. However, then I'll run into people and they'll talk about the episodes. And so that relationship, reach out and connect. And maybe you're connecting to other people and talking about it, and that's awesome. But building these relationships, and don't underestimate, you're taking in, you're processing, you're growing, you're evolving. But reaching out and talking and chatting and building other relationships on whatever level, whether it is just a Facebook friend in a comments thread that you're doing, whether it is in a forum somewhere else or a blog post in the comments down below, those relationships matter. The depth, the variety of depths, the places where you can find people to trust, it matters. And it's huge. And it was a huge reminder for me yesterday, and it was a beautiful reminder for me yesterday. And I'm so grateful. So any of my students, if they log on and they watch this, because I know they kind of hover around and look for things that I'm doing, make sure you say hey and shout out if you're part of that awesome semester that I just had. And thank you for being such a gift to me. So those are my thoughts. Thank you on Facebook. We have some comments going on for diving in deeper. If you're watching and as a replay, do hashtag replay in the comments. It helps me out with getting the message out, but it also helps others know that you are watching at a later date, so that it keeps the thread kind of going and we can check in and if you have other comments. The last thing that I want to do, and I don't think this is going to work, so I think I'm just going to post it on my Facebook page. So if you're in Instagram, I think you can do this in an Instagram story, so we're going to try that. But either on the Instagram story today or on Facebook, I'm going to post a survey. I want to start offering yin focused classes at Leadership Arts Associates, which are meant to bring balance to people's lives, because I think that we do live really heavy, yang-filled lives for so many reasons, like I mentioned at the very beginning. And I think we need to bring a little yin back, bring a little yin, bring a little yin. And by doing so, I think that the chaos will just kind of calm down a little bit, and we can really focus on creating really powerful relationships. So I say this because I'm going to offer 2 variety of classes. I want to bring a yin yoga class once a month, and I want to bring a qigong class every week. That I know it sounds funny. What is qigong? If any of the energy aspects that I talk about intrigue you at all, I highly, highly encourage you to just come see it, experience it, and feel it. Because I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't think that there was something bigger there. And I'm immersing myself in 3 years of study because I think that this is something that we're seriously lacking, especially in the professional environment. These classes are going to be donation based, which means essentially they're free unless you want to throw some money in the pot. And I really just want to have some community-based classes focus on building relationships and putting these amazing tools out there that I think can help all of us be even better professionals, people, humans, friends, family members, across the board. So I'm going to put surveys about times so that you can make comments on other times and see what kind of works in your schedule that wouldn't add more stress, but actually work best to suit you. So if you take a moment and complete that, that would be awesome. Other than that, have a great, great Wednesday. Thanks for taking a moment to watch this episode, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.